Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Naim binti Firdaus. My metric number is S58455. I am the first presenter, which means I'm going to share about introduction of our group assignment. So I'm going to tell you about the background of the case related to our topic. Many diverse trading relationships are included under the umbrella term counter-trade. This range from straightforward barter, such as exchanging oil for machinery, to implicit industrial cooperation agreements between Western companies and state agencies in Eastern Europe, and more recently, for negotiating trade agreements between developing nations with the aim of reducing the outflow of foreign currency. Numerous changes are being brought about in the current international trade environment by the fast globalization and removal of the trade barrier. The rationale of the study is India, which has been importing palm oil from Malaysia on average of just over 3 million tons over the past 5 years, is eager to increase its yearly imports from Malaysia by 2 million tons, or roughly 67% over the 5-year average, and is in discussion with the Malaysian government to secure the additional supply through counter-trade. A deadline for the completion of the negotiation has not yet been set, but India, which is Malaysia's top consumer of palm oil, according to statistics from 2021, intends to close the agreement soon, according to Reddy. However, Indonesia abruptly changed course and expanded the ban to cover both crude and refined palm oil, which caused edible oil prices to soar. President Joko Widodo claimed that, for the time being, the need for people to have access to affordable food outweigh Indonesia's concern about its ability to generate revenue. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, good morning and salam sejahtera everyone. My name is Aaron Krista. My matrix number is 60727. For this slide, I will talk about the chapter 2, which is literature and theory review, which is for our group point is the first one is Malaysia agriculture sector, and the second point is the Malaysia palm oil trade, and the last one is Malaysia palm oil industry scenario. For my point, I just talk about the Malaysia agriculture sector and Malaysia palm oil trade. Okay, for the next slide is about the Malaysia agriculture sector. In helping Malaysia is become the modern country that it's today, agriculture has made and continues to make a substantial economic contribution. And approximately 1% of the Malaysia overall energy consumption is made by the country agriculture industry from the sources NEB 2008. For a society to develop and enhance the life of its citizens, particularly in Malaysia, agriculture is a crucial need. In 2014, palm oil earned 12 billion US dollars is export revenue in Malaysia, and the industry innovator and technologies leader. Many other nations from the south are envious of Malaysia relatively with the smallholder and the financial success of its modern agribusiness firm, since palm oil now make up starting 70% of agriculture land usage. As we can see here, the GDP 2019 percentage share by kind of economic activity, that the majority of the nation agriculturally planted land in use for plantation crops. The biggest geographical area is devoted to the oil palm industry, and Malaysia continues to be a global leader in the development and manufacturing of vegetable oils. So if you can see from this picture, GDP 2019 percentage share by the kind of economic activity, constant 2015 price, as we can see, is oil palm is the highest more than the others agriculture. And for the production of selected crops, also palm oil is the highest more than the paddy, the cocoa, beans, natural rubber, and so on. So as we can see here, palm oil is the one agriculture most important in Malaysia. So the next point is about Malaysia palm oil trade. By entering the oil and fat market, the palm oil industry has transformed from a simple exporter and producer of crude palm oil into a more diversified sector with downstream and supporting. And only 10% of the crude palm oil is sent abroad, although there is a significant downstream development into oil chemicals and other products, and the majority of the crude palm oil product is processed locally and exported. So the procedure of palm oil are really suffering, and particularly when the price is as low as it was in 1985, export tax are caused to the produce of palm oil, which reduce their profit margins. So the next slide is about Malaysia palm oil trade statistic. So the statistic that I will take is just for January 2021 until December 2022. So the first one is Malaysia import and export. So Malaysia import and export, we can see from the January until December here. And the Malaysia export to major country, which is India, China, Turkey, as we can see from this table. And the last one is Malaysia export to ASEAN country, which is Indonesia, Myanmar, Philippines, Vietnam, Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, and Singapore. As we can see here, Malaysia export the highest palm oil at Singapore. So for the use of palm oil is the two types of use of palm oil, which is food users and non-food users. So the food users is due to its distinctive chemical makeup. Palm oil has a wide range of application and is nutrient rich. So its process physical characteristics that are necessary in mainly culinary applications, since it is a semi-solid. Margarine, shortening, and ice cream all include the significant amount of refined, bleach, and deodorized palm oil (RBDP). So the non-food users is due to its technological and economic advantage. Palm oil is highly preferred raw resources for the production of non-edible goods. Soap, detergent, and other surfactants fall under this category. It is also a top-notch raw material for making oleochemical, such as fatty acids, fatty alcohols, glycerol, and other derivatives that are extensively utilized in the creation of cosmetics and drugs and other commercial and industrial goods. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurhidawati binti Nordin. My metric card number is S59412. So I will continue for literature review of Malaysia palm oil industry. In Malaysia, the palm oil sector is a highly developed and varied industry. A well-established processing sector which include the milling, refining, crushing, and oleochemical subsector exists in addition to the plantation and smallholder sector. The palm oil sector is currently looking for more value-add product made not from the oil and kernel but also from the biomass of the plant. There are 4 positive developments affecting palm oil supply and demand. First, high upper value via with other oil seeds. As shown in table 4, palm oil has the highest output value when compared to the 3 major oilseed crops, which is lemongrass, soybean, and sunflower. Because of this and the fact that in the agriculture sector, oilseed must compete with cereal for available agriculture land, oil palm production is the most common. Agriculture land is decreasing in most countries due to urbanization brought on by industrialization. Second, the need for supply security for oil and fats. Table 5 shows the oil and fats balance for a few select nations in 2000. This nation produced 110.9 million tons of oil and fat altogether. At least 7 nations are self-sufficient in oil and fats. At least 17 nations are self-sufficient in oil and fats, according to a comparison of production with import and loss. The palm oil business takes pleasure in the fact that it has been able to use in cost competitiveness to reach the lower strata of social and satisfy their fundamental food demand, despite the fact that in some countries, palm oil has the reputation of being a poor man oil. Number 3, minor component in palm oil. Carotenoids, tocopherol, tocotrienols, streptopestides, terpenes, and aliphatic alcohol are just in a few of minor ingredients found in palm oil. Number 4 is environmental friendly crop. There is a growing perception of oil palm as an environmentally beneficial crop as a result of its ongoing production as a sustainable industry. It should be emphasized that oil palm is a perennial crop that sustains a minimum of 25 years of forest cover. The utilization of the oil palm as a carbon dioxide sequester is thus a new advantageous factor. They also have 3 future challenges to palm oil. Number 1, self-sufficiency policy by developing country. The developing world is where most of the palm oil is sold. Even though this market have enormous potential, there are always market barriers because many of these developing nations implement import restrictions to protect their domestic farming communities, achieve self-sufficient goals, or deal with financial challenges like a shortage of foreign currency. Next is subsidy by developed country. A major issue for palm oil is the ability of crop subsidy by several affluent nations. Input subsidy and minimum price guarantee are provided to farmers and exporters receive export subsidy. Although pledge to eliminate domestic support and export subsidy were made as part of the Uruguay round, it will seem that this agreement have had little impact on the production and export of subsidy oilseed and vegetable oil. Lastly is non-tariff technical barrier. Strict sanitary and phytosanitary SPS regulation should be put in place to ensure the food is safe, healthful and nutritious. However, some national arbitrary technical requirement or unfairly discriminator labeling obstruct the smooth trending of palm oil.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Shafiq bin Saiful Farid, S5912C. Today I'm going to present about the national experience in improving environmental sustainability and import and export competitiveness of the Malaysian palm oil industry. The first national experience for Malaysian palm oil industry is institutional and government support. This divided to three institutional, which is the Malaysian Palm Oil Association, the Malaysian Palm Oil Board, and also Malaysian Palm Oil Council. The next national experience is legislation in Malaysia, which were the first is hazard analysis critical control point. This legislation is one technique for managing factors that directly affect food society during preparation, production, processing and also distribution food. The second legislation is Environmental Management System Standard or ISO 14001. This is about abiding by all applicable environmental laws and rules, and also the policy content promise to stop environmental damage.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Afif Fitri bin Juki. I am my metric number S5938. I would like to present the recommendation based on Malaysia experience in palm oil industry. There were 4 recommendations here, and let's look these recommendations more clearly one by one. First is government initiative to boost export and import productivity, particularly for SME sector based on global public health and environment standard. It has 3 initiatives under this, which is the first is the governmental level. Plantation ministry industry need to be accountable for make sure they are educated of existing and outline specification for development to implement framework includes initiative which will lead to proactive strategy for the growth and development of the palm oil sector. Second is constitutional obligation. It involves risk and threat accounted at all stages of the product life cycle, include development, manufacturing, transmission, transporting, packaging, and commercialization. Government can collaborate with supportive organization from MPOB and member of palm oil sector. Third is licensing and certification. To secure acknowledgement and approval from all parties, government should take action to ensure parity and balance between Malaysia requirement and international standards. Recommendation is government initiative aimed at enhancing the environment sustainability. It has 3 initiatives under this, which is first is government need to actively encourage and promote integrated pest management IPM practice. It's important to implement organized training and capacity building initiative to increase knowledge and awareness of IPM approach. Level of residue and effect on health must be determined through operations on palm oil. Second is Kyoto Protocol. By reduced greenhouse gas emission (GHG) should make it possible for the palm oil industry to receive carbon credit under Kyoto Protocol, which went into effect in 2008. Third is communication with the world community. All the parties concerned must clearly communicate with the global community about the socio-economic advantage of palm oil farming in Malaysia. It's important to recognize Malaysia's commitment to preserving a balance between growth and environmental preservation. Next is the initiative by SME and private sector organization. It has 3 initiatives under this, which is first is raise awareness and comprehension. Both sectors must raise awareness and comprehension between all parties involved where in Malaysia distribution network for palm oil. The operation is generally meant to be a contribution to ethical business practice. Second is improve cooperation between the institutions involved. Good agriculture practice should be promoted like in smallholder farm by organizations like Malaysia Palm Oil Association, MPOA, and Malaysia Palm Oil Board, MPOB, which should collaborate with private producer group like Palm Oil Milling, POMA. Third is institutional criteria must follow certified standard. Organizations like Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil (RSPO) might adopting the appropriate action, but in order to be auditable and certifiable standard, RSPO requirement must be fulfilled. Last recommendation is mechanism and approach for regional cooperation. It has 2 initiatives under this, which is first is palm oil Producing a nation must cooperate. Involvement in conference like the RSPO and Eurogap meeting as well as PBB-funded discussion forum might help to better comprehend important requirements and expectations. Second is regional cooperation between ASEAN countries. Cooperation between many palm oil producers in the ASEAN region, especially in Indonesia, Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, and Cambodia, needs to be strengthened. By planning regional seminar, UNISCAP can make it easier for this nation to meet. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, next I'm going to talk about the conclusion. So a major benefit of counter trade is that it facilitates the conservation of foreign currency, which is a prime consideration for cash-strapped nation and provides an alternative, traditional financing that may not be available in developing nations. Counter trade is a part of an overall import and export strategy that ensures a country with limited domestic resources has access to needed items and raw materials. That's all from our group. Thank you.